Welcome back to the channel. If you are just coming in, make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel so you do not miss any learning tips, tutorials or educational tutorials, read alouds, and other activities that have to do with education. If you're returning, thank you so much, and make sure that you share this video. Okay, so in Homeschool Chronicles, if you have either been following me on my personal Facebook page, or if you have been following through Guiding Path Enrichment through the videos, you know that I am homeschooling my son, and it has been a joy and a challenge at the same time. Just like every teaching or education profession, there are challenges within the homeschool or within teaching in general. So recently we have been working on order of operations, and my son is a math whiz. He loves math, and it was a challenge a little bit towards the beginning to actually understand order of operations. And I just thought, if he is a math whiz and it is challenging a little bit to him, then I can just imagine other students who may be challenging in either the same areas or not really getting order of operations. So I decided to make a video to show how I taught it, and hopefully it will help you and your kiddos as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so with order of operations, the first thing that your student or your scholar needs to know is to make sure that they understand multiplying, dividing, adding and subtracting, and also make sure that they understand exponents and how to solve exponents, okay? Those are the biggest things that they need to know before they can even start order of operations. Now, with that, they do need to understand how to do order of operations. So what I would do, or what I did, was I helped my son understand order of operations by first giving him a problem and telling him to solve it. Solve it how he would actually solve it. Then I would give him the same problem and show him through order of operations how the answers may differ, okay? That way they understand, oh, if I don't do order of operations, then I may get the wrong answer that I'm looking for, or what the teacher is looking for. Also, there is a rule or a rhyme and reason of why we have to do order of operations to solve a particular problem. That way they can see the difference. Now, for old school like me, we used to see this. Oops. And there are different names for it. Sorry, the marker is trying to go out on me. Okay, so there are different names for it. Some people call it PEMDAS. Some people actually do it as gems as well. Which pretty much basically means the same thing. I write it a little bit different, and I'll tell you why. But we use parentheses, exponents, multiplication, dividing, adding, subtracting. Gems is just grouping, exponents, multiplication and division, subtraction and addition, okay? It's pretty much the same thing. All right, the reason why I do not write it like this, because I realized that it was confusing to my child as well as my students. If they see it like this, it's going to be left to right. So they're going to try to multiply first, then divide first, then add first, then subtract. Which that is not the case when it comes to order of operations, and that's what becomes really, really confusing. And I will explain why. So I usually write it like this, or I started writing it like this. So that way, once I start explaining it, it becomes a little bit easier, okay? So we need to make sure that we have some type of mnemonic device for our students so they will remember the order of operations. And there's so many different ones. The classic one is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That is the classic one. But there's a lot of things that you can use. Please excuse my dog always sleeps. You can use that one. Pandas eat mushrooms and dumplings, apples and spice. I mean, that one was kind of a hard one to use. But again, there are so many different ones that you can use. Another one which is really, really cute. I know it had to do with pizza every Monday, donuts always Sunday, something like that. Use a mnemonic or have your student or child create their own, which is really, really fun. That way they can remember the order of operations in their own way, okay? That is one thing to actually use or try to remember. One. Okay, so I wrote an example, 4 to the second power minus 8 minus 3. Okay, so the first thing, of course, that they see is we have to solve what's in the parentheses, okay? And I always have my child to write out the steps so that way he can see if he's made a mistake or to double check his work, he's able to see what he did. So, of course, we're going to start with parentheses first. 8 minus 3, which is 5. And I'm going to do it step by step, of course. And then we'll do exponents. 4 to the second power. Again, make sure, and I found this really, really interesting, make sure that they understand it's not 4 times 2. It's 4 2 times, okay? So 4, and they can actually even write it if they need to, if they're not used to it. So 4 times 4 is 16 minus 5, which is 9, okay? This one was pretty easy only because they did not have to go further into multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting. Of course, they had to subtract, but that was the last step. Let me show you one that is a little bit different. Okay, so this one's a little bit different. This one is, of course, a lot longer, and it does have all the steps to go through. So the first thing, of course, parentheses. Again, make sure that they write out, or if you are explaining this, make sure you write out all the steps so you can see. So 3 plus 2, of course, is in our parentheses, so that's 5 times 4 plus 5 to the second power plus 6 minus 9. Okay? The next thing they're going to do is the exponent. So that is 25. And I always write it, I don't know if this is just me, but I always write what I am doing first under it, and then I will rewrite what is next to it. And for me, that's just easier to see it. Okay, now this is when it gets a little tricky for most of our kiddos, because they don't know if I'm supposed to multiply first, am I supposed to divide first? How does that work? When you are doing multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting, they say do it whichever one comes first from left to right. So the first thing that is first is dividing, which is perfectly fine. That's why I wrote it this way, because whichever comes first is what you're going to do. Either if it's multiplying first, that's what you'll do, or if it's dividing first. In this case, it's dividing first. So 10 divided by 10 divided by 5 is 2 times 4 plus 25 plus 6 minus 9. Okay? Then the next thing that we're going to do is, of course, is there any more multiplying or dividing? It is multiplication still here, so I'm going to multiply, which 2 times 4 is 8, plus 25, plus 6, minus 9. And like I said, for multiplying and dividing, it doesn't matter which one they do, as long as they do whatever is left to right, whatever comes first. So that is the same thing with adding and subtracting. If adding's first, that's what you'll do. If it's subtracting first, that is exactly what you'll do. So 8 plus 25 is 33. Plus 6 minus 9. And then, of course, I'll do still the same thing. 33 plus 6, which is 39. Minus 9. And then that's our last step, which is 39 minus 9, which is 30. Okay? And like I said, this is a longer version of order of operations, but I wanted to show you all the steps in how to solve this. So again, I just write it this way only so it does not confuse my kiddos, and that way they can see, oh, which one is which one. That's what you're going to do in this step. I hope this method of order operations does help. I will be putting another video out to show a little bit more further when it comes to order of operations, and when we'll start talking about algebra, especially those expressions and variables, and using order of operations in between as well. Again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you really want to share the video with other educators, homeschool parents, and other teachers, please be sure to share, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until next time, have a good one.